Start with short stories. After all, if you were to take up rock climbing, you wouldn't start with Mount Everest. So if you're starting fantasy, don't start with a 9-book series. George R.R. Martin.
You're listening to Writing Roots, brought to you by Aspen House Publishing.
Welcome to Writing Roots. I'm Leigh Hull.
And I'm Leigh Esses.
Just a quick little plug for our Patreon page. You can go there, support us, $10 a month. It helps us keep going, keep producing this podcast, and keep it free for everybody else. It would be a huge help to us. On Patreon, you get access to extended episodes. You get access to our Discord channel, where we have a writing sprint bot, where you can join in writing sprints with us and with each other. Also, on that Discord, you get to chat with us. We'll respond to you whenever we're available. So head to our website, writingrootspodcast.com. Up in the top, you'll see a link to the Patreon page. So go check it out. It would be very helpful to us.
Most of this month, we've been talking about ways to polish and shine your work so that it gets noticed. Making sure that cover is fantastic, making sure that you're branded well, making sure that your social media is fun to engage in. Today's episode, we're talking about how you get noticed for your writing skills, and that is by entering competitions and awards. Just a quick heads up, a lot of writing competitions are a little iffy in the legality section, so make sure you check out each writing competition before you enter them. But having those awards, having those titles, having those feathers in your cap, do a huge service to validating you as an author.
So when you publish that book that you've written, you can put a little note in the author bio section that says winner of blank short story competition. It will get you noticed. One of the most common forms of fiction or writing competitions are for short stories. Short stories are your friend.
I don't think Martin could have been any clearer than he was in our opener quote, saying, start with short stories.
It helps you develop skills. It helps you figure out and try different styles if you want to try something new and find something that works for you. I absolutely love short stories, and they are very good practice. So if you want to kind of get your name out there to do recognition, start writing short stories and enter them into competitions. You may not be successful right away. You could be competing against people who've written short stories for the last 20 years and they know how to do it. Still try. Don't get discouraged.
Yeah, Chekhov, I believe it was, made his career on short stories. They're just good for building those storytelling muscles.
So where can an author go? Where can I go to enter short stories into competitions?
One of the safest routes to take is if you've attended a writing conference, keep an eye out on their Facebook page, because a lot of them have awards that they give out every year for best debut author or best sci-fi fantasy novel. They will let you know, and they are staking their reputation on this competition, so it's a good bet as far as the safety and legality of the competition.
You can also find some resources online. But again, do your research, look into it, ask around, join writing communities. Oftentimes in writing communities, they'll post about different opportunities for competitions or whatever. This is the part that can make a lot of authors uncomfortable because authors tend to be introverts. You have to be social. This is another place where you need to be social so you can get your name out there and find these competitions.
We've talked in the past about the importance of understanding your specialty and your target audience, your genre. This is especially important in finding the right writing competition for you. I am not a poetry person. If I attempted to insert my murder Christmas story into a poetry writing competition, they're not even going to look at it. They're just going to light it on fire or wear it as a hat. Flash fiction is another one where you're going to see a lot of these kind of competitions. Find the competition that suits your style. I will never enter a writing competition that is based on who I am. If somebody is hosting a writing competition for female action authors, My gender has nothing to do with my writing style. I want to earn that title on merit alone.
So look for the right kinds of competitions for what you're going for. Also, there are more than just competitions for the writing itself. There are non-content competitions, like competitions for cover design.
These you're going to find more within certain groups, certain sets of people. But these are really handy because all of the participants in the competition are promoting your book as well as theirs. And the people hosting the competition are going to have a lineup of all of the covers saying vote for your favorite. Even if you get last place by like a quarter the number of votes as everybody else, you are still being promoted. People are still seeing your title and considering it. When we talk about specific groups of people, if you aren't entering writing conferences, then you might be part of a writers association. RWA has awards every year, the Romance Writers of America. Another way to get your short stories noticed is short story anthologies. We are actually very pleased to be working with Co-Author Labs, which is a short story anthology collection. They are collecting all kinds of very interesting writers together for their stories based around a theme. But I am guaranteed to have not only them promote my story if I'm in their book, but all of the other authors are probably going to peruse my story just like I'm going to peruse everyone else's. They get a taste of my writing style, and my writing can speak for itself. I don't need to be tooting my own horn in this case.
Anthologies are a good way to get your name out there, especially if you're lucky enough to get into an anthology with an already well-known author. Don't discount anthologies. They are very helpful for new authors. Just get your name out there. That is the biggest part of marketing, is just getting your name out there.
And it gives you a taste of what it's like to be edited or be rejected if you don't make the final cut for the collection. This is all still very healthy.
A little rejection can be a good thing. But be prepared to pay to enter the competitions, especially if the competition is giving out a cash prize. They also need to compensate the judges that they've selected to help read and choose the winners of the competition. It is a lot of work for them, so be prepared to pay a little bit of money.
This is where the scam part comes in. If they're asking for more than $50 or so, I would probably just move on. A lot of times, though, if there's a price tag on it, it's going to narrow down the pool of people you're competing against.
A lot of people aren't willing to spend that money to get into the competition.
And if you aren't, great. There are a lot of free writing competitions as well. I saw someone railing against writing competitions when I was doing the research for this episode, and they were saying if you're good enough to win a competition, you're good enough to get published.
It is a way to get noticed because publishing companies get a lot of letters, they get a lot of inquiries, they get a lot of manuscripts. But if you can add in your letter that you've won a competition, that is likely to get you noticed out of that stack of 36 submissions.
If you want to be as sure as you can be that this competition is real, we're going to go back to my favorite word for this series, and that is local.
Magazines, newspapers, art councils, they will have local competitions for authors, for creators.
Especially if you are high school age or younger. This is something that a lot of arts groups want to promote. So if you are involved in any art thing whatsoever, talk to your local arts council. They might not have one going right now, but you can get on a list so they can let you know when they are.
So how do you get started in finding these competitions?
I keep an eye out on social media. If I find a group that I like, but I don't qualify for the competition in whatever regard, I might sign up for their newsletter. There are groups online who just post writing competitions. Submitting is part of your growing process. It's not just about the titles, and yes, as far as marketing is concerned, that's part of the goal, but it also flexes your muscles as an author.
There are some words of caution here. Be wary of who gets the rights after it's published. If you care about having the rights to your short story, then make sure that you maintain that after the competition is over.
A lot of competitions will say, we will only want publication rights so we can show everyone that you've written this story. This was our winner. I think if I were running a competition, that would just kind of make sense. But read that fine print very well.
Writing short stories is good. If that's what you want to do, then write short stories to your heart's content. Many authors have become popular because of short stories. One comes to mind, H.P. Lovecraft.
I believe Neil Gaiman.
Most of his early stuff, for sure. But don't get stuck writing just for competitions. That is a side thing. It is a little addition that you can add to have a little fun, get a little credibility, get your name out there. But it shouldn't be the purpose or priority for your writing.
And what is the priority when you're writing?
To write selfishly.
If you have a question or comment for our hosts or a topic you'd like us to cover, send us an email at writingroots@aspenhousepublishing.com or find us on Facebook by searching for Aspen House Publishing.